Hey guys, it's Luke here. Today we're going to be making some protein bars. Now the protein bars that we're going to be making today are for cutting, or another word for cutting is kind of shedding fat. So the bars we're going to make are very simple. They're very low in fat, meaning we're not going to be using any peanut butter. They're very low in sugar. We're not going to be putting any extra sugars, artificial sweeteners, or honey or anything in there like that. So let's get started. What we're going to do is we're going to have our protein powder. I just have a whey protein. There is 20 grams of protein per scoop. We also need some oats, quick oats. 1 minute quick oats work the best because the other ones need actually longer to cook and they kind of taste bad if you use them in the protein bar. So make sure you get the quick oats. We need 1 package of sugar-free, fat-free Jello pudding. It doesn't have to be Jello, it can be a store brand. But sugar-free, fat-free pudding, 1 package. And then we're going to need some milk. So to get started, I'm going to crack open the oats here. And if you want a little bit different taste, you can actually put the oats on a cookie sheet and bake them at about 350 for 10 minutes to toast them a little bit, stir them constantly. I like to save a little time. I just do straight out of the can. You'll have to play with it and see what you like. So I'm going to put in 3 cups of oats. 1, 2, 3. Okay. I got my oats in. Next thing I'm going to do is crack open my protein. And I have a Pro Complete 1V Core. This is from Complete Nutrition. I got it on sale. I usually just take what's on sale. And this is chocolate flavor. I've done cookies and cream. I've found chocolate definitely works the best. I'm going to put in 8 scoops. And this protein powder has 20 grams per scoop. We're going to do 8 scoops. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay. That is done. Next thing we're going to do, we're just going to put in the entire package of Jello pudding. So crack open, I have vanilla. You try chocolate too. I think vanilla just gives it a little different flavor. I like it. Really doesn't matter though. So dump in the whole package of vanilla pudding. Okay. And then you're going to just take a wooden spoon, and while it's still dry, you're going to just kind of blend these ingredients all together before we add the milk. Okay, so I give it a good stir. Don't want to lose any of that precious protein. As I say that, I throw it all over the table. Dang it. Okay. Alright, that's all nice and stirred up. So I'm going to go in to the fridge. Right now where I'm at, I am about between 5 and 7-ish% body fat. So I'm drinking 1% milk. I kind of need the extra fat and energy. If you really want to cut, go with skim. It does not matter. So I'm going to start off with about a cup of milk. See where that gets me. Not an exact science here. All the proteins mix differently. So we're going to stir this up. And what we're looking for is kind of a sticky, we want to get a sticky mixture going. Okay, so I definitely need more milk. I still got a bunch of powder. One thing I forgot to say before I started, I cranked my oven up to 350 because we're going to bake these. A lot of people do a freezer or a fridge method. I find that baking them makes them set up a lot better, and they're just less sticky and they're easier to take with you somewhere to work. If you do the fridge method or the freezer method, it works to just pop one out of the freezer or the fridge and eat it when you're at home. But if you want to transport these transport very well in like a Ziploc bag, and they don't turn into a big pile of goo in a lunchbox or a backpack or something. So that roll's looking pretty good. It's a big sticky ball. That's kind of what we're going for. A little bit more milk in there. So it looks like we did about a cup and a half just to get the stickiness. And if you put in too much, unless you turn it into a big bowl of chocolate soup, don't worry about it because you can just bake it a little longer. Once we're done, I have a glass 9x13. I'm just going to scoop all this goodness in there so you can kind of see the texture. Just going to do a big blob. Have you ever made those chocolate no-bake cookies before you were on a healthy diet? It kind of resembles that type of mixture where it's that chocolate cocoa oatmeal no-bake drop cookies. It's kind of what we're making, instead of butter and cocoa, we're using vanilla pudding and protein powder. So then we're going to take a spoon, spread this out as best as you can. It's going to be a pretty thin layer. I found a trick that I do is I get my hands a little wet. So I turn the sink on, get my hands wet, give it a couple quick whacks, right? And then it doesn't stick to your fingers. So I'm going to do that again. Just go back to the well, get my hands pretty darn wet, and press down my mixture. Okay. On the sides there. Press it down. Once I start feeling it starting to stick to my fingers, I go rinse it off. My hand's nice and wet again, all over, and I continue to press it down until I feel like I've got it pretty even all over. And it's turned into kind of a little gooey soup on top, but that's okay because we're going to bake these. The main part is to get them all flat and nice. Okay, I got it all nice, spread out. Let me rinse my hands off. Dry them off here on a towel. So I'm going to show you what this looks like before I pop it in the oven. Like I said, I got my 9x13. You don't need to grease it, they'll come right out. Okay, there's what it looks like. So I got my oven at 350. I'm going to pop it in. I usually set it to just like 5 minutes. Just for it to set up. And what I do is I'll tap it. If it feels pretty hard and spongy, I'm going to take it out. It might take 5 to 10 minutes only. So now the stats on these bars, and how much do they cost? So I kind of did the math. My protein powder, like I said, has 20 grams of protein. I put in 8 scoops, so that's 160 grams of protein in that pan. I put in some milk, I put in 3 cups of oats, and I put in the vanilla, sugar-free, fat-free pudding. If I add it all up, the whole pan of bars is going to have almost 2,000 calories. There's going to be 160 grams of protein and 162 grams of carbs. So this is pretty much a 50-50 protein-carb split. The amount of fat is, let's see here, 34 grams of fat in the whole thing, from the protein, from the milk, and then from the oats. So when it's all said and done, I'm going to cut these up like brownies. I'm going to cut them up in little squares. I'm going to typically cut my pan into probably 15 brownies. Each one is going to have 10 grams of protein. It's going to have 11 grams of carbs. It's going to have 2 grams of fat, 130 calories, and each one is going to cost me about 75 cents when I add up the price of 8 scoops of protein and my 3 cups of oats and the Jell-O and the milk. So if you look at something comparable, as far as price-wise, these are some of the other bars I'll eat now and then, just to mix it up. We've got this Metrics Big 100. This has 370 calories, so this is a big-time meal replacement bar. 28 grams of protein and 6 grams of fat. This cost me $3.65. So you can see, like, we want to get comparable stats. If we eat 2 of our bars, we'll have 260 calories. 20 grams of protein will cost us $1.50. So 2 or 3 of our bars equals one of this, about half price. We got the Snickers Marathon bar. This was about $1.79. It's got 220 calories, and let's see here how much protein is in this baby. 10 grams. So you can see we got this beat. This was $1.79. It's only got 10 grams of protein, 220 calories. Ours is 75 cents. We could eat 2 of ours, get twice the protein, and it'll cost less. Another Snickers, the Steel Bar. This is the Ab Steel Bar. I really like these. These are on bodybuilding.com. This says 250 calories, 4 grams of fat, 20 grams of protein. And these are about $1.25 to $1.50 a bar. So ours still beats it as far as in terms of price and quantity of protein and amount of fat. So hopefully this helped. It's a pretty quick and easy recipe for a homemade protein bar. All you need is protein, oatmeal, milk, and some vanilla pudding. So until next time, good luck.